want to welcome all y'all to Fan of a Fan, and this is strictly only for the fans.
Welcome to Breaktime on West Side, your number one breaktime podcast, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic is a man who once believed that bukkake was a Japanese form of martial arts. He is a man who likes his women the same exact way he likes his yogurt. It is none other than your tall, dark, and mildly handsome man, Sir Denver B. The show is Fan of a Fan, the show where I go out of my way to reach out to people that are my fans or should be fans of the podcast so that we can come together and discuss matters love, sex, and relationships and a bunch of things around it. And come to some sort of random conclusions or disagreements and shit. So, be it a fan, be it somebody who's in the podcasting industry, be it a professional, be it a sex therapist. Honestly, I think I've just had one. But we usually come together and we discuss a bunch of different things. Now, my host for today, or at least my guest for today, is somebody that I've had on the podcast before. She is a very interesting woman. She was once considered a captain, but I guess at this point now she's more of a crew member from On the Same Boat, but now on Stratizan. It is none other than Shaka. Shaka, what's up?
I'm very offended. I am very offended.
Over what?
Okay, I have had almost all comments about On the Same Boat. The boat is still there. It hasn't capsized. It hasn't sunk. The boat is there. It's just
been stolen by a pirate?
It's under renovation. We're doing some painting, changing the sails, making
Has it been eaten by water hyacinth?
There was lack of funds at some point.
Okay.
So wherever it is, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Anyway, so hey Shaka, what's up? Welcome to the podcast. It's a huge pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a minute. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Especially
for a serial podcaster like yourself. Because you started a ton of podcasts. Let's be honest.
God.
You started a ton of them.
Yeah. I think, game recognizes game, So after On the Same Boat, I got offers to do a bit more. I got interested in doing more than one. So it's going on well. I can't list all of them. There's still others which are coming up. Working on being more behind the scenes.
Sawa, content creator.
I'm working on being more behind the scenes. I think people are tired of hearing my voice. I don't know. So, yeah.
Are you sure that's the reason why?
So, I was actually gonna ask you, when did you have a sex therapist on?
Oh, you don't know?
Yeah.
So, the last session of Fan of a Fan that I did, I actually did have a sex therapist. I had Maurice Madeka on Fan of a Fan. It was actually a lot of fun. It's called Sex and the Shitty.
I'm gonna listen to that because I want to understand what a sex therapist does. Like,
please, go and listen to parts 1 and 2.
Heal people's emotions using sex.
No, actually, it's a very interesting lineup of things that he does because he's not just a sex therapist. That's what he's known for. He's pretty much like me, but as a counselor. He's a relationships counselor. He's a sex therapist. He does a bunch of different things here and there. But yeah, just think of me if I actually went to school for this and I became a counseling psychologist within this whole realm of love, sex, and relationships.
How come you didn't do that? We're taking advice from someone who does not.
Oh no, I kind of liked the banter. Like I was a fan of it. Well, I was a fan of the discussions as I was growing up. But when I went to university, my interests were different. Like even my venturing into media in general was something that I decided to do when I had already checked into uni. And I just figured, let me finish with my business degree. Then I can chase this as well. But anyways, my life aside, we have a podcast to discuss. And this one's a very interesting one because this topic
Yeah,
was because of you.
because of
Yeah, so there was something that you had posted up online a couple of weeks
yeah,
ago, and I
yeah.
made sure I took note of it.
Oh my god.
And because you mentioned it, I figured let me have you on it and let me have you come and explain yourself. So, like, let me just explain to everyone. So, she posted up this thing on her IG stories, and it was this caption photo which said, and I quote, "The amount of women I know that just aren't interested in pursuing anything with men right now is astonishing. They don't even want dick. Y'all really turned straight women all the way off." End quote. Now, you posted this up on IG and you
Yeah,
really, really believed in it. Huh? As in, even when
yeah.
it was posted, like, I could read it and I could feel the emotion inside your system. So, that's actually kind of the reason why I made sure I hit you up. I asked you to come on. I gave you this and I told you to come up with every single reason why y'all are tired of guys. And this is probably the least prepared I've ever been for an episode because I have zero idea. All that I'm going to do is just defend. I
You
will
wanna
defend
you wanna
my
defend
fellow
men?
penis swinging people. Yes, I will defend
Oh
them.
my god. Okay.
This is bound to be fun.
First of all, be careful what you put on your stories in Denver. Is following you because he's using it against me now. Um,
No, I'm not using it against you because I think this is something that is true.
yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of women that feel that way. Can I say guys feel roughly the same? I think to a certain
Do
degree,
they?
yeah, there's a lot of guys that are very, very tired of babes. There's a lot of guys that are like, you know what,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just tired of women. The only problem is we're logical enough that we understand why we desire women. So
mm-hmm.
we aren't at that position where we're like, you know what, we wish women didn't exist. Us guys look at each other and we're like, even though we were to say that, that would mean a sausage fest world. We're not ready for that shit. We're not.
Okay. Well, I actually posted it just right after. Okay, this was really targeted. I have a crew on the Strategy podcast. When I announced I'm back on the streets, they even made memes about it.
Oh,
So this
must have
was
been
just
fun.
after a relationship. So all this was happening after I've just ended a relationship. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I feel like I was actually sitting down to reflect a lot about my life because there was a whole year plus. I was single, like a whole year and beyond. It was quite a long time I was single, and it wasn't intentional. Was it? It was.
Circumstantial.
What is it?
That's the word you're
It
looking
wasn't
for.
even If I say it's circumstantial, people will think I'm not pretty. Yo, guys, I'm hot, but
Okay, no one has said you're not pretty. I think you're a very good looking woman.
that's a lie. Denver was vibing me before we started. So,
This could be true. But then again, you
it
said that what I
is.
said was a lie. So, anyways. All right, so please tell me you have at least a bunch of reasons why.
I think I have a few.
Okay.
I don't know. Because for this relationship, which didn't even last long, I thought it was gonna be the end of a cycle that I had. You get into a relationship, you're giving this guy pursues you first of all. It's normally the guy who begins pursuing the girl. You wear her down. She finally gives in. She's ready to give 100%. And once she's given in, it's like, I don't know. It's like you wanted me to want you, but when I want you, you don't want me.
This is the problem with pursuing for too long. Like, this
But
is
then again,
honestly the biggest problem with pursuing. Because
yeah.
here's how it is. There's this whole thing that people have kind of crafted around. I don't know if it's Hollywood. I don't know if it's just people in general. They're like, oh, if you want this woman, pursue her and you make sure you pursue her up until she accepts. Personally, for me, I'm a lot simpler than that. I hit you up. I'm like, hey, I want to do A, B, C, D. I'm interested in you. And I'll try and see if there's signs for it. If I don't notice any signs for it and you don't even seem remotely interested, I back away. Now, for the guy that's like, oh, I'm gonna pursue, all the way till they end up getting this babe, you end up using up so much energy trying to get the babe. And then once you get the babe, not in a bad way, but it's like the value automatically diminishes. Because, okay,
Yeah.
think about it like this. Think
True.
about it like this. Imagine you have a million bob and say you've always wanted to get like a tiny car, like there was an old Vitz that you were really, really thinking about, and it was a million bob back in the day, and you really worked to get that mill. And then you go and you get the Vitz from somebody who had already bought it. Then once you get the Vitz, and then there's like another new one, there's like a bunch of other cars that cost a mill. You're gonna look at that Vitz and you'll be like, right, it's good, I wanted the Vitz, but
There's others now.
yeah, because
So
if a guy
what's
pursues,
the point then? What's the point?
that's the thing that I usually ask a lot of guys. What's the point of trying to hit on somebody for such a long time, and then after putting in so much work, all of a sudden it's like now you've run out of juice to carry on into the relationship? Because I get this whole thing that guys usually say, oh, when do you ever see a politician campaigning after he's already won? Like, it's a statement that's been used before. It's a statement that's been used before. But ideally, go get into the relationship. After you're in the relationship, like, y'all can start, pushing and shoving. But before the relationship, if you're putting in too much work, then by the time she already accepts, you better be, madly in love and willing to spend a lifetime with her. Because honestly, you just get tired. Because people usually perceive the amount of time taken to get something with its value. That's why people will say a Toyota takes 13 hours to make and a Rolls Royce takes 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine going and getting a Rolls Royce and it has Toyota parts. You're going to feel shortchanged, right?
Yeah.
And that's my point. If you put in too much effort for such a long time, and then the person that you get, you realize that this is just a person like any other, all of a sudden you're like, why did I put in so much effort? Because people do that with this whole utopic thought in their minds. Oh, I want to get this babe. She looks like she's such an amazing person. Then you realize she craps just like everyone else. She'll probably annoy you half the time. And when she's needy, you probably want to go and spend time with the boys, but it's like now you have to pick and choose. And that's just it. That's just it.
I haven't. I've actually been trying to understand why these things happen. Because we have us girls, we are told by even just the way you're raised, you're not supposed to look easy. You're not supposed to be too easy. Like don't give in that easily. Don't give in fast. And then someone who really wants you can wait for you. So now, as we come into this dating world. We're coming into this dating world with the perception of if it's worth it, he's gonna wait. He's gonna be consistent. He's gonna keep pushing, And then guys are coming into this world taking long shots knowing that they will probably won't get it. Like guys
It's not
go
that
for
they know
girls
though.
who think they're out of their league. And then when this girl agrees, they're like, wait, I wasn't prepared for her to say yes. What's next? What do we do next? You see?
Right. It's not that they agree to the thought that, oh, I'm going to go for the long shot. And then once the relationship begins, I'm done. I don't think there's any guy that usually thinks of it that way. I don't think they're smart enough to think that far. At least the ones that are malicious enough to try such a thing. I don't think they think that far.
Yeah.
Because, okay, here's the thing with guys. When we're trying to get a babe, we're usually trying to get the babe. Like, that's the first hurdle that we have to get. Provided we can get the babe, like, we can worry about the rest of the other shit. Because it's not like you'll be thinking, oh, where will I get money for dates? Oh, where will I find time to spend with her? No, I want to be with her. Like, that's how guys think. Like, that's how personally I think. Like, when I'm trying to get a babe, it's like, I want to get her. The other things, I usually wouldn't think about it back then. Nowadays, because I guess adulting has happened, for me, I usually have to think about a lot more than that. But for most guys, especially when you're in like campus, college, university, and so on, like they usually just think about getting the babe first. And after that, like you all will be in bliss and whatever the hell it is that fairy tales taught us about happily ever after. Like, how usually they put happily ever after and then you close the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Getting the girl is the entire book, then happily ever after usually comes after that. And that's where the problem comes in. Because there's a ton of guys that are like serial daters that'll go and get into one relationship, expect it to be bliss. It's not bliss. They get out, they go, they put in so much work, get this babe. All of a sudden, it's the same cycle over and over again. And like I said, this whole thing of putting in too much effort doesn't work nowadays. Like back in the day, I'd understand why it would work. You go, you get a babe, and you're probably gonna stay with her for a long time. But nowadays, why would I want to? I'm not saying that people who get into relationships want to leave early. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But personally, for me, when I'm getting into a relationship, I want to be there for as long as I can be. And that can be 10 days, it can be 10 years. I don't
10
know.
days.
Hey, there's some
Wow,
people
but
who've done 10 hours, by the way. Let me not kid you. So you have these guys who will do like all this work to get this one woman. And
yeah.
then you realize that the one woman that you get isn't all that you wanted her to be. Or at least she's not all that you'd hoped her to be. And then all of a sudden, because this is something that affects guys quite a bit, all of a sudden, you don't get all the good things like at once. Like you're getting both good and bad. And because in honeymoon period, you're like, it's cool, I love her, it's something that I can stand and I don't have a problem. Because I kid you not, most guys will never see a flaw in you before they get into a relationship with you. And even though they do that, like, it's okay, it's fine, it's cool, I don't care,
I can handle it.
I don't care, I can handle it. Kumbe, those are red flags, like China and shit. So this guy will go get into a relationship with you. It's honeymoon period. He's like, it's okay. She's annoying, but it's okay. I love her. I think I do. Then, as months start to roll by, I still think I do love her. Then over time, it's like, this shorty is just bugging me. Like, I am tired. Like, shorty, could you just let me sleep? Why do I have to talk to you every night? Like, why do we have to spend time every weekend? Like, I need time with the homies. I need to watch a game. Like, you want to spend time. Like, if you want to watch a movie, why do I have to pay for us to go to the cinema? Let's Netflix and chill at the house. What's wrong with that? And the more you annoy him, or at least the more you're trying to push into this, the more this guy is like getting tired and tired and tired. Of course, there's those times when like things will spike up and then you're like, oh, I love my shorty. And then, they'll dip. And usually most relationships are usually like, they usually just bumps, ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. But at the end of the day, because most of these guys just wanted to get the babe. They weren't thinking about it long term. They weren't thinking about being with this woman for the rest of their lives. The moment you start annoying them, and especially when there's more babes out there and they're noticing them, they just start thinking about, okay, maybe I should step out. Plus, also, guys nowadays barely have any tolerance. There's not that many guys that are ready to tolerate a lot of these babes that will annoy them for a certain period of time. Because you can piss me off once, twice, the third time over the same thing, and I'll take it, but at some point I'll be like, no. And considering that there's fewer guys that are going to tolerate you, and there's fewer babes that are going to tolerate those guys, and especially considering that guys nowadays, for some reason, we get hotter once we get into relationships, it just becomes hard for us to want to stay there.
Wait, I see. What you get when you get into you get hotter.
Yeah, we actually do get hotter once we get into relationships. Like, it's actually a thing. There's even studies done on it.
You don't get hotter, it's just a forbidden fruit theory.
It's less about the forbidden fruit and more about social proof. Because
No. Because even girls, the number of guys who pursue you when you're in a relationship and when you're not there's a significant difference.
I don't think it's more of a difference, really. I think when you're in a relationship, when you're in a relationship as a babe, when you're in a relationship as a babe, I'd say there's fewer guys that would want to date you. A lot of them will probably want to hate.
Yes.
Because here's the thing. Like, as guys, I'm not gonna use predators. I'm not gonna, like, that's a term that's been messed up by woke-activists. But as guys, we will see a babe and want her for a bunch of different reasons. But primarily, think of it as I either want to bang or I want to be with you long term. Or, I just want to be with you as like a girlfriend or something. And when that's there, Like, if you're single, then I'm gonna want to be with you. Like,
Yeah.
that's what guys will probably want to chase. But if you're in a relationship, the guys that are chasing after you are probably trying to hit, because when they realize that you're in a relationship, most guys that will want a relationship with you will back away because that's someone else's territory. The guys that want to hit because, like, there's nothing as interesting as conquering someone else's territory. Like, that shit's interesting as hell. I'm not lying to you.
Oh my god, man. Oh, Baba.
I'm not
Uh,
saying this to make it such that, oh, all guys want to invade relationships. Trust me, there's a ton of guys that'll go, they hear you in a relationship and they're like, by the way, no, I do not try it with babes that are in relationships. There's guys that'll feel that way. But there's a lot of guys that wouldn't mind hitting a babe who's in a relationship because it
Yeah.
clearly means that he's a more superior person, in a sense. Now, the social proof with guys when it comes to being in a relationship is women normally, this is something that's been like since the traditional times. Women, because they have greater consequences when it comes to mating theory, you have greater consequences if you end up with a guy who isn't of good quality. You can see it as a genetic thing, financial, and so on and so forth. You guys have a greater consequence because at the end of the day, if you marry this guy, or at least let's just think about it in a very animalistic way. If you go and you have kids with this guy and he doesn't have good IQ, or his family has a history of lifestyle diseases, of things like Down syndrome or something of that sort, then you end up with lower quality babies. All right. So because
Lower quality babies.
yes, in one way or another. In one way or
Oh my
another.
god, it sounds so harsh.
Okay, it sounds harsh, but okay, the simpler way of saying it is you end up with slightly less than normal children, or you find them being academically less capable or
Or
not
in
as
the
active.
spectrum.
Yeah, like they end up lower on the tier of different people.
Now, in as much as I would love to continue talking about this, unfortunately we have come to the end of the episode. So we will have a part 2 for this and it will be coming up next. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But with that being said, if there are any thoughts, comments or feedback, feel free to hit us up on the DMs of @Breaktime on Westside on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on my personal Twitter handle, which is @BagakaTheD. And on IG and Facebook, it is @Breaktime on Westside. Thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you guys on the next break.